I'm not gonna do it. Travis, you are being ridiculous. Ina said, her arms folded as she stood next to my bed. That thing almost ate my face off. I'm not running around looking for more of them. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. I'm staying right here where it's nice and safe. Ina just stood there, glaring down at me with her big, unblinking eyes. I tried to lay back on my pillow and ignore her, but you guys just don't know how hard that is. Those eyes. They look right into your soul. Then she started tapping her foot. Took about 10 seconds of that. All right, I'll go get eaten by alien parasites. You happy? Good. Here, I made this for you. I just finished it last night. I was going to give it to you later tonight, but now is just as appropriate, I suppose. She said as she held out a hand. What is this? I asked, taking the small box from her. Open it. Okay, I mumbled as I slid the top off to find a small brown leather pouch with some kind of gold pens on it. Oh hey, this looks really cool. What is it? It's a special holster for your cudgel. I was working on it when you came in that one night. Oh, so this is what you were hiding under your pillow. That makes sense now. Thanks, I said as I slid it onto my belt. It's gonna look real nice in my coffin at my funeral. Oh, stop being a baby. You're not going to die, she scolded. I'm going to be with you the whole time. How are you going to be able to help me? Aren't you like a pacifier or a pacifist or something? I responded skeptically. I never even seen you wear your cudgel thing around. Here, will this make you feel better? She questioned as she stomped over to her trunk and opened it. I will take this just in case. She added she took the bone-like sword out, sliding the sheath onto her belt. Fine. I groaned as I twisted the door handle and tiptoed into the hallway, waiting for Ina to leave before I softly and slowly pulled the door closed again. What is the matter with you? Something roared from behind me. I tried to run one direction and my sphincter tried to run the other. Oh God, Vought, why? I can't feel my legs. Why would you do that to me? I'm already on eggshells, you big bastard. You are such a nervous little creature. He boomed as he reached down and plucked me off the ground like an anxious hamster. Come, we have work to do. He instructed whilst he tried to situate me back on my feet like I was a G.I. Joe or something. Once he was done speaking, I noticed Sasha strolling our way, opened her mouth to talk. Nope, don't even speak to me. Even one word, one fucking word, and I swear to God, we're gonna go rounds. I barked at her. I was already in a foul mood, and I didn't need any of her shit on top of it. She had this look on her face like she was trying to figure out where the hell I found the nerve. Then she snapped. Hard. And that's when I realized mistakes were made. What the absolute fuck did you just say to me? She roared, storming towards me. I will shit on everything you love and rip your nuts off before the sting hits your nose. By then I was already climbing Vought like a cat trying to get away from a pack of dogs. You keep her away from me! I squawked, trying to kick her away from my perch on the giant's shoulders. After about a minute of being held back by the orange golem, she finally gave up her attempt at murder and stomped off down the hall. Once I was sure she was good and gone, I slid down off Vought before I wore out my welcome. She's done nothing but torment me since I got here, I complained out loud. God, I hate her. Damn. What crawled up her arse? Zex asked as she left her and Vaught's room to join the joint room. He is scared and it is making him irritable. Ina blurted out before I could answer. Thank you, Ina. That was very helpful. Oh, hey, you have your sword on you. I've never seen that before. Zex interjected, pointing down at Ina's belt. Travis would not leave the room. I did this to bribe him. She stated plainly, lifting her arms and sticking her hip out. Would you knock it off? You're making me sound like a little bratty kid that doesn't want his picture taken. I am not trying to die here. Yeah, I did kick your ass pretty good. You might be better off in your room away from all the scary monsters, Zex said. See? She gets it! I shouted to Ina's face as I waved a hand in Zex's direction. Jeez, I was trying to goad you into being a little brave with reverse psychology. What a hero in the making you turned out to be. Zex mumbled in disappointment. Hey, look, that ain't me, alright? I'm a sleazeball, okay? I know this. I admit this. My brother's the nice one, always sticking his neck out for someone. You have a brother? Ina asked when she heard that. Yeah, identical twin actually, but he's a bigger chicken shit than me. Hold a snake up to him and it's over, but he walked right through a field of them to help someone. He'd be dead broke and still come with cash to get me out of trouble because of my gambling. I'd turn around and steal something off his and hawk it, and he'd still help me again the next time. God, I really am a piece of shit, aren't I? I trailed off as I thought about what a prick I'd been. Oh my God, do you need a tissue or something? I heard Pete's slimy voice crawl over my shoulder. Do I really need to remind you that we're dealing with a potentially apocalyptic problem right now? Can we save the boo-hooing for later? It'd be too much to ask for something bad to happen to him during all of this, wouldn't it? I mumbled to myself as we all filed past him and towards the lobby for our instructions. Once all the 8s were together, the manager did this out-of-the-wall thing and began explaining the situation. We would be working in groups centered around a particular person, and this person would be someone with a particular kind of sense that would let us figure out who does and who doesn't have one of those things in them. But these kinds of people were in short supply, and they had to make the most of them. All right, everyone. The good news is, this seems to be an isolated incident within Section 8 for the moment. Hopefully we locked everything down in time to keep it in 8. However, as I'm sure you all know, there are many worlds within the 8th cluster, and we have to assume there's the possibility that they've managed to make it outside. So we have to check the guest books and determine who's left the hotel within the parasite's known gestation period. The good news is, we haven't had anyone exit the hotel within that time. However, this creature comes from a flagged dimension, so no travel to or from, he said, his tone becoming more concerned as he spoke. This means this was done deliberately, and while this parasite has been contained, and while I am confident in your collective ability to deal with this in a swift and efficient manner, the thing troubling me most is the motive behind this action. When he said that, everyone began to shift in place nervously. And this carries with it an even more troubling implication that I'm sure some of you have already begun to realize. That there's another way to travel between dimensions than the hotel, someone from the crowd said. Yes, I am afraid that seems to be the case, as the pathways to the various dimensions in this hotel are all linked directly to me, and I know each and every time they are used. And since nobody has been allowed to travel to that specific dimension, it can only mean there is an alternative pathway we are currently unaware of. This is getting real serious, isn't it? I leaned over and whispered into Ina's ear. So it would seem, she answered. But as it stands, one problem is more pressing than the other. Now, as mentioned, you will be divided into teams. Right now there are 24 of you, and 3 with the necessary means of perception to detect the parasites. So, 3 teams of 8. The first team will center around Ina and will consist of Travis, the Anonenvort, Zix, Sasha, and Antrin. When I heard the names after Sasha's, I looked around, assuming it was probably her own roommate, and my stomach sank when I saw that was the reptile thing looking from the hot spring. And then Leslie and he said some other name with syllables I can't begin to pronounce. Then he went on to name the rest of the teams that we were supposed to split up into. And once he was done, we all grouped together and waited for what he wanted to say next. I huddled up next to Ina with everyone else, including Leslie's roommate, who looked oddly like a person with a frog's or a newt's skin, in the group as he started to speak. Alright everyone, let's all try and get through this without incident if possible. Please exercise caution at all times, and do try to remember, our guests are scared, and they're looking to you to bring this to a swift and satisfactory resolution. Now, team assignments, he said, looking over all of us. Teams 2 and 3 will be checking the guest rooms. Team 2 will search the left rooms and T3 will take the right. As for Team 1, you may have noticed, are especially hardy and robust. This was done deliberately. Here it comes, Leslie groaned from beside me before the manager could finish. As you will all be searching the utility facilities downstairs. God damn it, Sasha complained. We're all gonna fucking die. And as she said that, I noticed everyone else in the room start to get a little squirmy. What's the deal? What's wrong with downstairs? That's where the guests' food gets made, the laundry is done, maintenance, all kind of stuff that goes on down there. So there's all kinds of places and dark corners for something to wiggle into and lie in wait. And on top of all that is where the staff that can't be trusted to get along peacefully with the guests work. Some with predatory tendencies, habitual criminals, all that. So we're getting thrown into the fire on this one, aren't we? Looks like it. But at least we have Vort and Zex, so it could be worse, she said as she scratched the back of her head. Actually, yeah, that makes sense, I guess, she said when she looked at the group. What makes sense? I asked her, wondering what she was thinking about. Vort, Zex, me, Ina, and as much as I hate to say it, you. The manager put the best fighters on the team, so we'd have the best chance of making it back up. Leslie knows the downstairs better than anyone else in the upstairs staff. How the hell do you know all this shit if you've only been here a little longer than me? Huh? She asked. Her attention came back to me. Oh, I just said that. How long was it? 2 weeks or something? To shut you up so I could get on with orientation. I've been here since... I don't even remember the year anymore. Sometime in the 1500s? What? Then you're like really, really old. Jeez. What a cougar. Careful. So, what's your story? Ina said you can only accidentally find this place on the worst day of your life. What was yours like? Really? You're gonna ask me my whole backstory thing? Hey, I mean, who knows how long we got left, right? Fine. I'm actually German, or used to be. My accent's gone, I can't remember the last time I spoke German. But it's where I was born and lived before this place. I was an odd girl from the start. I was fascinated by these soldiers that would go to this academy to train that was near my home, and as a child, I'd climb the wall and watch them almost every day. Academy? What kind of academy? I stopped to ask her. It was a school for swordsmanship. A really cool one, too. Specialized in Zweihander. Big, long, two-handed swords, too big to wear, so you'd have to carry them around on your shoulder like a spear. And after a while, I knew I had to be a student there. It was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. Well, there was an issue or two, she said with a pause. First of them was my family was too poor to send me. But even if they could, it was a men's-only school, and I'm not a men's, I finished for her. Not a man. There you go. She nodded absently a few times. And there was this whole class issue thing in the way too. But I was stubborn and I knew I was going to that school. So I worked and I worked and I worked and I saved up any money I could. Bought some men's clothes, went far across town where nobody knew me so I could practice acting like a man, till I could fool just about anyone. And after years of trying, I finally got in. I was so happy. The years I was there were the best in my life. I probably spent more time there than home. Until one of the other students caught me taking a piss one day. He dragged me across the school, my pants down around my ankles, and told the head instructor. I was so embarrassed I was crying my eyes out. I pissed all over myself. Everyone was yelling at me. They wouldn't even let me pull my pants back up. They threw me out on the street naked from the waist down and told me to never come back. So I walked back to my house, put on some fresh clothes, and started walking. I think I was planning to drown myself in a river on the edge of town. But before I got there, I came across this strange building with a sign in front of it that basically said, "Worst Hotel, Vacancy." And I was so tired from crying, I just wanted to sleep. Drowning sounded like a lot of work at the time, so I walked inside, and that's how I ended up here. Jesus. You. Hell, I don't even know what to say. It all worked out. Imagine my surprise when they told me that I'd learn how to fight from an actual godlike being, she said with a grin, sliding the small, gold-colored cudgel out of its pouch. I could afford to pay to go to school, but there's no way I could have afforded a sword like the ones they taught us to use there. But here, she added as the bar erupted into a massive golden sword, the blade waving back and forth into jagged points along the edge. Here, I get to carry this everywhere with me in my little pouch on my belt. So you really like it here, huh? I asked her. Explains why you stayed so long. I wouldn't know what to do with myself out there in the world the way it is now, she told me as she slid the bar back into its pouch. Well, I don't know what to do with myself out there, and I was born with it that way. You sure do handle being naked in front of people pretty good now, though. Well, after what happened, it took me a while to get used to the showers and how they were set up. Like a really long while. I tried to sneak in and get back out whenever it was empty. But after decades of that, eventually it started to be a real pain in the ass. Then there was this girl that showed up one day, Abigail. When she told me what she'd been through, I almost threw up. But when it was time for her to bathe, she just walked right in there, not a care in the world, like it couldn't have mattered less that she was stark naked. So I figured, what was I so worried about? You're starting to seem like you're almost human or something. I don't like it. I joked as Ina finally joined us, the rest of the group close behind her. You guys ready? Sasha asked when they were all gathered around. No, not really, but we kind of have to do it anyway. Leslie sighed as he just adjusted his belt. You better not let anything happen to me. You know how long I've been behind that desk? It's because I can't fight for shit, he warned us. Yeah, whatever, let's just go, I told everyone. Decided I should probably head downstairs whilst the courage was there. Well, here we are. Stairs to the lower levels, Leslie told us once we were standing in front of an unfamiliar door. I guess this is it. Yeah, I guess so, Sasha agreed as she reached out and opened the door. Well, ladies first, Sasha said to me, stepping out of the way. Yeah, I'm sure that was real funny in Germany 1,000 years ago, I said as I walked by, feeling a hand swat me in the back of the head as I passed her. So, what are we looking for exactly? Leslie asked when we reached the bottom of the stairs. I was told to look for anyone with a section of their body with a temperature that doesn't match the rest. That is supposed to mean they are hosting a parasite, Ina explained. But there is a good chance we may encounter one after they have already exited their host. When she said that, I thought back to the thing in the room, watching it break and tear the bones out of that corpse, something I wasn't particularly excited by the idea of seeing again anytime soon. Hey, I started to say. What? Sasha asked from behind me. Nothing. I mean, do you really think I'm one of the best at fighting? Like, this combat thing? I answered with my own question. Well, I mean, I heard what you did with Vort. That's not something just anyone can do. Yeah, but then Zex turned around and beat the shit out of me. Well, yeah. But she's a freak, and she's been here longer than even me, by like several hundred years. I think Ina is probably the only one she couldn't handle around here, but Ina is a pacifist, so it's not like it's ever been settled. She went on as we eased our way out onto the floor. The laundry room is up ahead on the left. Leslie suddenly said from near the back of the room. Why the hell are you all the way back there? I asked as we realized where he was. I'm on Ina's side. I'm not the fighting type. I'd rather stay behind the desk and talk shit safely from afar, he answered. I'm here to navigate, that's it. I took a second to sigh to myself, not wanting to admit that I'd like to be back there right beside him. But I knew I had to keep pushing forward. And after a few more steps, sure enough, the laundry room was completely empty. Not a single person in there. Hey, is it always this quiet in here? I asked over my shoulder, causing everyone to turn and look at Leslie. After a long pause, he finally answered. Actually, no, it isn't. Everything had me so shook up in the first, I didn't realize it. But normally it's hard to even hear yourself think, it's so loud down here. Oh God, here we go, Sasha groaned, looking around the room. After a second or two, I could start to tell why she wasn't all that happy. The laundry room was empty, but not because it was supposed to be. You could see the hotel uniforms and bed sheets and pillowcases, and all the stuff that would have been washed down there was scattered all over the place, like everyone left it all at once. Okay, I have to ask, where is everyone? Zex asked as she walked down the long row of washing machines. Maybe we should check the kitchen next, Vought asked as he ducked under the entrance. We aren't down here to eat, Zex told him as she turned to walk back to join the group. But then she stopped. You all heard that too, right? She asked. The sudden knocking from inside one of the dryers was way too loud to miss. You want to check that out? I asked her as I eased myself back closer to the rest of the group. A true hero you are, Travis, Zex said with a sigh as she made her way across the room to the dryer. Hey, I'm just the guy who has a problem with the word bet. And a questionable sense of ethics, I replied with a shrug. Capes and spandex ain't in my future. Yes, big baby. She mocked as she got closer and closer to the machine, slowing down more and more the closer she was. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Ah! Oh my God, what? I screamed from my place behind Vort's left shoulder, who had climbed back up in a panic. Hey, it's just one of the workers, she called over to us, her arms dropping down to his sides in relief. Come on, get out of there now, she said, pulling a small, dumpy, human-ish shaped thing out. What were you doing in there? Hiding? What I assumed was a guy told her. These things, they showed up and started dragging everyone away, so I hid in the dryer before they got me. What things? I asked, still hanging off of Vort. What do they look like? After a long silence, he said, Like big clumps of mismatched parts. They had bones, broken bones sticking out of them. Well, we got a winner, I groaned. Oh yeah. Hey, Ina, can you see anything? I asked, suddenly remembering why she was there to begin with. He seems to be fine. So, what do we do with this guy? I heard Sasha's lizard-like roommate ask. I guess he comes with us. Leslie's roommate suddenly spoke in this weird, hissy voice. Well, you guys heard the salamander. He comes with us, I announced to the group as I slowly slid down Vort's leg like a firehouse pole. That is very nice of you, Travis. Ina praised me as she walked up beside me. I knew this place would be a positive experience for you. Oh, yeah, I guess so, I mumbled, not wanting to admit I planned to use him as a meat shield at the first sign of trouble. Really turning a corner, I think. Come on, guys. The kitchen's just up here, Leslie whispered from the back of the group. Come on, you're following us. You come on, I argued. Besides, you ever see a horror movie before? It's always the one in the back that gets picked off first. When he said that, I could see the look on his face as he realized how exposed he was back there. When did you become an expert in horror movies? He stuttered, slowly inching his way deeper into the group. Oh, don't get me started. The amount of that crap I had to listen to when I was I stopped mid-sentence when I noticed Ina stop and her hair start to do the thing where it stiffens up like horns. Hey, what's going on? I nervously asked her as her head tilted back and forth. I can feel something. A large mass of some kind, moving around deeper in. What is it? Can you tell? Zax asked, making her way to the front with Ina. Is it alive? I don't know. It's either too far to sense any electricity from its body, or it just isn't alive. All I can sense right now is the movement from the air pressure, Ina told her, letting her hair fall back down to its normal flowing silky form. What, electricity? You can do that? I asked, a little surprised that I could still get caught off guard like that. How? Here, come closer, she told me, leaning forward into my face. You see these little pits all over my nose? She pointed to the right spot. I leaned in and looked at the tiny holes that run across the brim of her nose from one side of her face to the other. So what do these do exactly? I'm not sure how to explain. It's like I can feel when something is moving as long as it's alive. The muscles give off electricity, and if it's close enough, these little pits pick it up. She tried to explain before a frustrated Sasha barked. Oh my god, can we save the show and tell for when we get out of here, please? Yeah, I sighed, kinda mad I couldn't stare at Ina's face a little longer. And then reality set back in as I looked around at the abandoned kitchen. Just like the laundry room, it looked like everyone just disappeared all at once. I could see half-prepared food still sitting on the counters along with boiling pots on the stoves. I couldn't help but switch off the burners. Just years of habit, I guess. But once I had, and the soft sound of the bubbling vanished, the whole room fell into a painful silence that lingered in the air. Nobody seemingly willing to break the uneasy quiet. But about as soon as I started to try and say something, a loud crash echoed from ahead.